Should you get tattoos? Here's what I think. I'm going to tell you about my experience with tattoos. I'm going to tell you about why I got them, why I wouldn't get them, and I'm going to tell you about talking to plenty of other people with tattoos, people who regret getting them and people who are really happy getting them. So if you have tattoos, let's talk about it. If you're interested in getting tattoos, then listen in. It's something to think about because it is a permanent decision that is, I guess technically you can go back on, but it's very hard to go back on. So if that sounds interesting to you, if this is a sort of different video that you're into, then welcome in. So trying to cover all sorts of things to help you with your life and not just focus on one thing like quitting weed or crypto or whatever it is, just a wide variety of topics. And one of those topics that I get asked about and talked about is tattoos. So why don't I start by telling you my story of why I got tattoos, and then I'm going to tell you the pros and cons, and then I'm going to go into some stories of people who really didn't regret getting tattoos, and then stories of people who I'm very happy with tattoos. So let's get into it. So for me, my story was, my tattoos are all connected to travel. I'm very lucky and very blessed that I got to travel to many countries in my life, and a lot of that was in sheep, 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 sheep. Here comes the sheeps. I'm lucky that I'm blessed that I got to travel to many locations in my life, and I first considered getting a tattoo basically as a souvenir. I met some random guy in a hostel in England, and he had a gecko tattoo, and it was a souvenir of a place he had been. I think it was Portugal, and gave him connection to a trip that he had taken. So I was like, hey, maybe I could just walk into a tattoo parlor, maybe I'll get a tattoo. So I went and I walked into the tattoo parlor, and the tattoo parlor, this was in England, and I was there. A lot of the travel was because when I was a pro Magic the Gathering player, and when they had in-person events, there was this tour, they'd take you around the world. It was really cool, and I'm lucky and I'm grateful that I got to do that. So I went to this tattoo parlor by myself, and the tattoo parlor was randomly closed. It was closed, and I said, okay, like, phew, I don't have to go in there. Maybe it's a sign that I shouldn't get a tattoo. And I forgot about it. I didn't go home, I didn't get a tattoo, and I went home and I went back to the States. And something interesting happened where I never went back to England. I've never been back to England, and I don't know if I ever will be back to England, but I never got a tattoo from England. So it's interesting where an interesting thing happened where I sort of regretted not getting a tattoo. Like, oh man, I should have got some ink, because no, I'll never be back. I may never be back there again, especially with the world the way it is. You know, I'm more settled here in my life. I got a dog here. I just don't see myself going back to England. Never get a tattoo. I was lucky to go back to Europe one more time, and that's when, well, okay, to me, the sign of I regretted not getting a tattoo was a sign that I should get. It's like, okay, it's okay to get tattoos, because I regretted not getting a tattoo. I didn't regret getting a tattoo. So first I got these, the trees here, and I was with my friend Victor, and we were in Sweden. And then I got this bird here, and I was in France with my friend Dylan. And then not in no particular order, I got this star in Texas, in San Antonio. I think I met up with Kev Dunks that day. I got all the stars around the big star in Washington, D.C. with my friend Luke Kottner. I got the moon and the birds in Japan with my Magic the Gathering Pro team, Lingering Souls, Donald Smith, Shaheen Sarani, Andreas Gans, who else was on that team? Chris Fennell. I got the bear and the bull in Humboldt by my friend Sean Grimes. I got the Seattle and the clouds in Seattle, which is where I grew up. That one's ugly to me. I don't like the way it looks. It's too much black ink, but that's also how I feel about Seattle, so I feel that it's appropriate. I got the mountain in Mexico. Traveled down there and played in a tournament with Trey Van Cleve, Greg Sokol. I got the Ram in Las Vegas. Lots of friends there on that trip. I got the sun in Colorado when I went to visit my mom and my brother. I got these waves down in Puerto Escondido in Mexico. I got the backside of the wave here in Waianae and here in Hawaii. I got the shark when I visited my brother in Venice Beach in LA when he lived in LA. I got the diver on Kapolei in Hawaii and the fish. I got the turtle in Maui. And then on the other side there's the whale. I got the whale in Kauai, which is another island in Hawaii. And then you can't really see, but here we have a volcano and banana trees and a dinosaur wrapping around. And I got that in on the big island of Hawaii, another island. And I was with different people on all these different trips. And it's a reminder of all these people. And so I like my tattoos because I didn't spend a lot of money on them. You know, each one, I spent, I think, $2,000 or less. So it's not like, oh, I could have spent this money on something else or invested it. It doesn't bother me that it looks cheap or it is cheap, because it's not for anyone's appearance. It's for memories and souvenirs. I can look at it and I can think of all these times that I traveled and the people that I was with, my friends, who was there with me, the tattoo artist. I was always met a new tattoo artist and just walked into a new studio and said, hey, can you add on to this work that all these other artists have done? So, yeah, it's not for anyone's to look at, or it's souvenirs of travel. So that's the way that I've done it. And I haven't gotten tattoos in a while. I stopped getting them because I've stopped traveling. So yeah, for me, it's a travel souvenir thing. So if you're to do it that way, that's a way that it can make sense. It's like you're in a place that you're never going to return from. You could take a souvenir with you. Here's some things to think about again, though. I don't plan on getting many more tattoos or possibly any more tattoos because of my health conscious. I quit smoking weed. I quit drinking alcohol. I quit smoking tobacco. I quit all these things. I quit porn. And problem with tattoos is there's a lot of junk in the ink at times. There's heavy metals and stuff. And those heavy metals can be found in your liver, and it can cause, it's just not a healthy thing to do. You're injecting all this random bullshit, ink and metal into your body, and yeah, it's on the superficial layer, but it still works its way to your liver after a while. And there is some research that it's maybe not the healthiest or best thing for you. So I don't regret doing it, but now that I've realized that, I'm like, hey, I should probably not, because it's not aligned with my healthy message, right? So that's a reason to not get them. Also, this is a reason why, sort of interesting side talk here, but this is a reason why I didn't really hesitate too much to get the COVID vaccine. Because if I'm going to inject myself with poison just strictly for basically memory and appearance, then I could inject myself with poison that will at least protect me from a disease and allow me to function in society and protect my mom and my brother when I visit them. So just a little interesting side thing is if you are willing to put a bunch of heavy metals into your body with tattoos, but aren't willing to get COVID vaccine, that's something interesting to think about there. Maybe you should not get tattoos because it also has negative things with it that you should look up. So you can comment down below if you find that interesting. I think there's a way to get less toxic tattoos. I didn't really look into it before I did it. There's ways to get, it's like vegan ink or whatever. I don't know if it's, you're still putting ink in your skin. So maybe it makes a difference. Don't know. Y'all can comment down on that below. But that's a reason why I wouldn't get more tattoos. That's also a reason why I wouldn't necessarily recommend getting tattoos. Maybe there's other ways to keep souvenirs or keep memories of times, whether that's photographs or whatever it is. So also, if you're not traveling, if you're not the person to travel, maybe there's no reason to get tattoos. I think it's a mistake to get tattoos if you want to look a certain way or it's part of a certain identity. Like you want to look like where's my dog? Dog, Nalani. Come on, dog. Not too sure where she went. She went in the river. Well, let's keep on talking. She'll show up. Oh, there she is. Here she comes. Thumbs up for the dog. Yeah, if you're trying to have a certain identity or appearance, like I want to look like a rock star, I want to look like a rapper, or I want to look like an athlete or something like that, I don't think that's a great reason to do it, because you might change your identity or want to change your appearance, and then you've done this thing, you committed to this thing. Also, if like you're spending a huge amount of money that could be spent on something else, that's maybe something that you should consider. Yeah, so from what I've heard of people who sort of regret tattoos is like just dumping a bunch of money and getting it all at once to sort of on an impulse to sort of look a certain way. So I guess what I could recommend if you're sort of curious or not is like, and this is what I did, is I thought about it for a couple years. I think it was 2013 when I went into a tattoo parlor for the first time. And it was, 2014, it was 2017 before I got my first tattoo. So I thought about it for 3 years. And this is an important thing, I think, when you're making big decisions, to think about it for a long time, you know. I thought about Bitcoin for 6 years. Would have been good to do it earlier, but at least I did it. I thought about tattoos for 3 years. And it was similarly with Bitcoin. I regretted not buying it as a sign. Well, I should probably buy it now. I've regretted, like every year I've regretted not buying it, so I'm gonna buy it. Tattoo is like, I regretted not getting a tattoo for 3 years. Here I'm traveling, let me get the tattoo. So I waited, it took me 3 years, and I started with one little piece, and I only added one little piece at a time. So it wasn't an impulsive thing. It was a small thing at a time, and it obviously has a lot of meaning to me. So based on all that, should you get a tattoo or not? Well, it really depends a lot. It really depends a lot where you are in life. It depends on a lot of things. But I hope in this video I gave you some ideas to, if you're like, think about it for a long time. Think about the cons of having something permanent that you can't really remove, putting heavy metals and toxins into your body, and then if it's really worth it based on that. And then if you think maybe it is, then start with the really small thing, get a tiny little thing, and then wait and see how you feel about it, and go slowly over time. And if you decide, hey, tattoos are definitely not for me, that's okay. And if you have them and you regret them, well, you live with that, and that's part of life. Sometimes you can't go back in time, and you can use that as a reminder to be more prudent, or you can use it as a reminder to that you're not perfect and that it's okay. So end of the day, as long as you feel okay and good about yourself, that's what really matters, which is again why it's not about do it for other people. So I hope you found that interesting. Comment down below your thoughts on tattoos, if you got them, if you didn't get them, why. Let me know. I'm really interested to hear. Let me know if you found that helpful. And then as always, if you want one-on-one help, if you want coaching, you can reach me down below. There's a link. We can get on the phone and I can help you with your life. Be another person in your corner, help guide you through the difficult or the permanent decisions. Sound good. Appreciate you. Much love, and look forward to talking to you soon. You're awesome. You're amazing. Peace.